Hi everyone, my name is Masood Saeed and I'm a social science psychologist. This video will explore cultural hegemony, the hidden power of Western media. The term cultural hegemony describes how a dominant group's beliefs and values become widely accepted societal norms. This concept, developed by Italian Marxist Antonio Gramsci, helps us understand the subtle ways power operates in society. It's not just about force, but about shaping our understanding of the world. Gramsci argued that dominant groups maintain power not just through political and economic control, but also through cultural influence. This influence shapes our perceptions, values, and desires. Media, education, and popular culture all play a role in this process. Cultural hegemony is not a static or absolute concept. It's constantly negotiated and contested. Subordinate groups can resist dominant cultural narratives and create spaces for their own voices and perspectives. Understanding cultural hegemony is crucial for analyzing power dynamics and promoting social justice. This video will explore the concept of cultural hegemony, focusing on the influence of Western media on non Western societies. Western media, particularly Hollywood and Western music, hold a dominant position globally. This dominance allows for the widespread dissemination of Western values and norms. Example: in modern society, the dominance of Western ideals of capitalism, consumerism, and individualism can be seen as a form of cultural hegemony, where these ideas are accepted globally, often at the expense of alternative worldviews. Cultural hegemony refers to the domination or control of a culturally diverse society by a ruling class who manipulates the culture of that society, the beliefs, explanations, perceptions, values, and mores, so that their ruling class worldview becomes the accepted cultural norm. This concept was introduced by Italian Marxist philosopher Antonio Gramsci in the early 20th century. Gramsci argued that cultural hegemony is maintained not through overt force, but through the consent of the people as they come to accept the ideas, values, and norms of the dominant class as natural and inevitable. The ruling class achieves this by influencing institutions such as media, education, and religion, which shape public perception and maintain their control. In this framework, even though the working class or other subjugated groups may have different interests, they often adopt the worldview of the ruling class because it appears to be common sense or universally beneficial. This allows the dominant class to maintain power without using outright coercion. Key aspects of cultural hegemony: domination by consent. People accept the norms and values of the ruling class as the natural order. Control of ideas. Through media, education, and other institutions, the ruling class shapes society's beliefs and values. Subtle influence. Unlike overt forms of domination, cultural hegemony operates through subtle means, making it harder to challenge. From fashion and music to ideals of beauty and success, Western media often present a particular worldview. This global reach raises concerns about cultural homogenization. Critics argue that the dominance of Western media can lead to the erosion of local traditions and values. This concern is particularly acute in the digital age, where information flows rapidly across borders. However, the relationship between Western media and non Western audiences is complex. It's not simply a one way process of cultural imposition. Audiences interpret and negotiate with media messages based on their own cultural context. The spread of Western media can create opportunities for cultural exchange, and dialogue. It can also empower marginalized communities by providing platforms for their voices and stories. Understanding the nuances of media influence requires moving beyond simplistic narrative of cultural imperialism. The current global spread of Western culture has historical parallels. The Arab Golden Age, spanning roughly from the 8th to the 13th century, saw the flourishing of Arab science, philosophy, and arts. This period witnessed a widespread influence of Arab culture, facilitated by trade routes and the spread of Islam. The Arab world during this time made significant contributions to mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and literature. These advancements spread to Europe and Asia, influencing the course of intellectual and cultural development. This historical example illustrates how cultural influence is not a new phenomenon and that different civilizations have shaped and influenced each other over time. However, it's important to note the differences between historical cultural exchanges and the current globalized context. The speed and reach of media today amplify the potential for both cultural homogenization and resistance. Understanding historical parallels can provide insights into the dynamics of cultural exchange and help us navigate the complexities of cultural influence in the present. The dominance of Western media can have a profound impact on the psychological development of individuals, particularly in younger generations. Constant exposure to Western media can influence their perceptions of beauty, success, and identity. This influence can lead to feelings of inadequacy or a desire to emulate Western standards. For instance, research suggests that exposure to Western beauty standards can negatively impact body image among young people in non Western cultures. Similarly, the portrayal of Western lifestyles as aspirational can create a sense of cultural inferiority. This is not to say that all influences from Western media are negative. Exposure to diverse cultures through media can broaden perspectives and foster cross cultural understanding. However, it's crucial to be aware of the potential psychological effects, especially on identity formation. Navigating the complexities of cultural influence in a globalized world requires promoting media literacy, critical thinking, and a strong sense of self. Section 5: The importance of cultural resilience, preserving diversity in a monocultural tide. Cultural resilience refers to the capacity of individuals and communities to maintain their cultural values and practices in the face of external pressures. It involves actively transmitting cultural knowledge, preserving traditions, and resisting cultural homogenization. Language, for example, plays a crucial role in cultural resilience. Promoting and preserving indigenous languages is essential for maintaining cultural identity. Similarly, supporting traditional arts, crafts, and cultural practices helps communities retain their unique heritage. Cultural resilience is not about resisting all external influences. It's about selectively embracing and adapting to change while preserving core values. This approach allows cultures to evolve and thrive in a globalized world without losing their distinct identities. Ultimately, cultural resilience is vital for preserving the richness and diversity of human experience. Section 6: Ethics of Cultural Dominance, Orientalism, and the Other. The dominance of Western media raises ethical concerns about cultural representation and the perpetuation of power imbalances. Edward Said's concept of Orientalism provides a framework for understanding how Western representations of the East often rely on stereotypes and distortions. Orientalism, according to Said, is a system of knowledge production that constructs the East as exotic, mysterious, and inferior to the West. This discourse, perpetuated through literature, art, and media, serves to justify Western colonialism and maintain power structures. The ethical imperative is to challenge these representations and promote more nuanced and respectful portrayals of non Western cultures. This effort involves amplifying the voices of marginalized communities, supporting diverse storytellers, and promoting media literacy. By critically examining representations and challenging stereotypes, we can work towards a more just and equitable media landscape. Section 7: The Power of Representation, Challenging Stereotypes, Embracing Diversity, Representation Matters, especially in media. When people see themselves reflected in the media they consume, it validates their experiences and fosters a sense of belonging. Conversely, the lack of representation or the perpetuation of harmful stereotypes can reinforce marginalization and prejudice. Challenging stereotypical representations requires promoting diversity both in front of and behind the camera. Having diverse writers, directors, and actors ensures a wider range of perspectives and stories are told. It also helps to break down harmful stereotypes and promote more accurate and nuanced representations. The media we consume shapes our understanding of the world and each other. By embracing diversity and challenging stereotypes, we can create a more inclusive and equitable media landscape. Section 8: Critical Consumption, Navigating the Media Landscape with Discernment. As consumers of media, we have a responsibility to engage critically with the messages we encounter. Media literacy involves questioning assumptions, identifying biases, and recognizing the power dynamics at play in media production. It's essential to be aware of the potential for cultural bias in news reporting, entertainment, and even social media. Developing critical media literacy skills enables us to make informed choices about the media we consume and to challenge harmful or misleading representations. By engaging critically with media, we can become more conscious consumers and contribute to a more informed and equitable media landscape. Section 9: Conclusion, Celebrating Cultural Diversity in a Globalized World. The dominance of Western media in a globalized world presents both opportunities and challenges. While it can facilitate cultural exchange and understanding, it also raises concerns about cultural homogenization and the perpetuation of power imbalances. Navigating this complex landscape requires promoting cultural resilience, challenging stereotypical representations, and fostering critical media literacy. It's about recognizing the value of cultural diversity and actively working to preserve and celebrate the richness of human experience in all its forms. By embracing a more nuanced and critical understanding of media influence, we can harness the power of media to foster cross cultural dialogue, promote social justice, and create a more equitable and vibrant global community. Do not forget to tap on the like, subscribe, and share buttons and also leave a comment.